Hello everybody and welcome back to another forecast. So in this video, we're going to be talking a little about what happened on Pi Day, or March 14th. There was a little bit of a severe weather outbreak that kind of happened over the Midwest here. Ohio saw a lot of tornadoes as well. You can look it up on YouTube. There's YouTube in the internet here. Very nice tornadoes here. This is not the best imagery here, but a lot of tornadoes struck all over Ohio and regions like that. You can see there was this outlook here. We had enhanced risk, and you can see the tornado reports here, right in Ohio. Oops. Right here in Ohio, a bunch of discrete supercells ended up forming some tornadoes. Basically a huge line. Unfortunately, though, I do not have really enough data for it. Just all of the data is just outside of our time frame. I'm making this video a little bit too late to really talk about that. I'm gonna talk a little bit about what happened that day, just because I can't right now. Once I finally get archive data for that, I might end up making a video on it. We'll see. Right now, I have a video in the works for Rolling Fork, which happened about a year ago. But I'll talk a little bit about what happened right now. I'll zoom in here to Ohio and just kind of make a little rough sketch here. So the whole day as a whole, there was this huge 500 millibar trough, kind of, or not a huge 500 millibar trough, but a tiny little shortwave that was moving over this whole area. What a shortwave does is essentially at the 700 millibar level, you'll have your contour lines, and they'll kind of go like this, something like this, right? It's not a whole cutoff low, right? What we see a lot of the times is low pressure is a lot like this, very well defined axis of tilt. However, in this case, we don't have that well defined axis of tilt. You can kind of see it in here, and you'll see end up with these little contour lines. Look at the 500 millibar level right now. You can't see them very well, but you can kind of see what a shortwave kind of look like. You can see how there's little kinks in the flow. I think right here, they kind of follow this pattern across the whole thing. It's a little blurry right here as well. But that's basically what happened that day. We had one centered here over Ohio in the Midwest. We had a low pressure that was going right here. And what happened was the cold front associated with it was kind of way back in here, right? So I'll put my low pressure somewhere around here because it's about where it was. Our low pressure was very, very wide, very expansive, and very slow moving. Essentially, what happened was this group of storms early morning, somewhere around 6 p.m. or sorry, 6 a.m. Central Time on Friday, or I believe that was Thursday. On Thursday, this round of storms moved through here, and basically any cloud cover over this entire region here was eliminated entirely, which meant lots of surface heating, and eventually, with the cold front associated with that low pressure, there were a number of discrete supercells that were able to form across this line. And I do mean a lot of them. I have seen some rare imagery from other videos. I would definitely go check them out. We had a bunch of discrete supercells that would form and move easterly. I think we had a significant tornado somewhere down here in uh, southeast Indiana to Ohio region. There were a lot of tornado warnings, and we also got to see some very good footage of radars here in around Columbus, seeing very close into these supercells. The day before as well, we saw a very nice and beautiful, and I do mean beautiful radar imagery of a tornado somewhere around Kansas City. This is a beautiful representation of a tornado right within a supercell. And you can see all of the functions of a supercell. This is from March 13th, 2024. This is 4 days ago as of making this video. You can see here's our supercell, here's your hook, and here's your whole shape kind of right here. Kind of even see the flying eagle where it goes out one way like this. And you can see inside, you can even see this little spiral going all the way into the real storm, the tornado within. A very impressive imagery, and you can see on the velocity side on the other half here, here's your couplet away from the radar and towards the radar. I'll draw with the yellow color. You can see easier. Away from the radar and towards the radar, which is indicating rotation. So definitely very good imagery here. And this was, just a tornado that happened to move really close to this radar, but just beautiful imagery. This is the only tornado report I believe we had that day, but this is my little mini recap of all that happened those days, just because I didn't really get a chance to look at any of this. Again, I'm still a high school student, and I do get bogged down by homework sometimes, so school is more important than this channel, unfortunately. However, the weather is still always in my mind, so this is a very interesting thing to see that day. But since I am trying to keep this channel up and running, let's look at what's going to be happening for the next few days. This event that went on Pi Day 314 and 313 the day earlier was definitely very interesting, but until I get better information on it, it's just out of reach for me, so I can't get enough information for it. I just can't make a video on it. I really did want to though. What's going on for us right now though is basically a very positively tilted trough here in Canada. I have a red now. Very positively tilted trough up here because the axis of tilt is back this way. And then we have another trough here in Arizona and the Four Corners states of American Southwest here. And this has just been stagnating down here for a long time now, and it will continue to stagnate. You can see it just kind of hanging out in there. So what we're going to see is on Thursday, Friday, this is eventually going to jet its way off to the east. I'm going to look at the GFS model now, which, by the way, if you look at the ensemble GFS model, you can see much of the same. From today all the way to that 84 hours forward, just like the NAM says, this low pressure hangs out right here and eventually ejects its way east. And this will move across the southeast as well. However, this isn't very negatively tilted, and you can see here not much flow to be associated with it. Since this low pressure has been cut off for so long, there's not a good belt of 40, 50 knots ahead of it. Essentially, if storms want to form here, the only damage they could have is large hail. Likely not much to be had for tornadoes or anything of that caliber. However, as we move on later into the week, you can see here the ensemble model has a lot of flow right here, and not to mention big trough that is forecast to basically build its way in somewhere around Thursday or Tuesday into Wednesday, eventually ejects its way off east as well. You can see here huge, very bended contour lines, a lot like our April 27th event way back in the day. Definitely not anything, definitely not the April 27th event. I'm not saying that. But you can kind of see that the big troughs are what bring a lot of good severe weather because you get a little bit of defluence aloft, and any storms that want to form in that little region, they can be very aided by strong flow, as well as just good surface dynamics as well. I'll look at the GFS model. You can see somewhat of what we're looking at. You can see here on Monday and Sunday, the GFS on Sunday here, the GFS has this very large amplitude trough here across the entire United States here. There isn't really a center of low. It's just kind of large flow. I would probably put a center of low somewhere around here. I'm kind of seeing it kinking back up to the north a little bit. It gets a little messier afterwards, but that's where I would place that. As well as surface temperature. Again, you can see this very strong low pressure right here. Likely to bring very strong snow on the backside of it as well. You can see here, if I zoom in to the Texas region, you can see on one half we're seeing 20 degrees, 30 degrees over this widespread area. And on the other half, in Texas, we're seeing 71's temperature. Kind of impressive. A very strong low pressure to be had here. GFS model shows us somewhere around 900 to 86 millibars. So again, very strong low pressure, very strong surface low that would be associated with this. GFS, I don't like to look too much at the Cape this far out. It's just definitely not a good habit to be in. But just for a little understanding of what's going on with it, there will be capes associated with this. When the GFS tends to show convective potential energy this far out, I usually think, okay, this could be definitely something bad, because the GFS is very minimal on Cape until you get right next to the event, from what I've learned. So very interested on that front with this whole trough ejection, but otherwise it's about all our weather pattern has going on right now. So it's just this massive trough ejection. So I think it'll be super severe. Not sure yet, we're too far out. But there could be severe threats with this, especially if things want to ramp up. You can see here the trough ejection afterward here, this Tuesday night here, this can be a lot more severe. We have much more defluence aloft according to the GFS model here, and stronger flow, likely a surface flow that would be able to form here as well. This whole system could be hurt by surface dynamics or surface air movement, surface winds. A lot of these winds, according to the GFS, are going to be from the north and even from the east, which is not what you want to see at all. So something to look out for, and there could be a few issues with the environment of this system as a whole. Definitely something to be looking out for. I am curious how it's going to put together, and hopefully, if I'm not bogged down by homework again, I have another video coming out closer to the event as well. So again, apologies for not making a video on the March 13th, 14th outbreak, or really any time within the past week. I am still a student, so please keep that in mind. Otherwise, Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time.